Hey, it's Dorley and welcome to my channel and welcome to my creative life. Today I'm doing something fun, a little different in honor of National Red Rose Day. So I found this set from Altenew on a trash to treasure pile at the crop that I was at recently. I was so excited about it because I love Altenew stamps. Now, these are layered, so there's a base. I think this one has 3 layers. Yeah, 3. So right away, I thought I'm going to use generational stamping for this. And what that means is you stamp once, you stamp twice, third, fourth, right, to get different variation of shades. Well, the bottom layer is supposed to be the lighter one. So I had to stamp off twice because I wanted the third and fourth layer or generational layer for this bottom one. So you see that scrap there? I'm just stamping off twice, and then I'm going again, just doing the base third and fourth generation. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, but you could see how the first layer is super dark and then it just gets lighter as you stamp. So that's what I did for the first layer. Now the second layer of the stamp, it's a little bit darker, right? So now I'm only going to stamp off once. So again, ink it up, stamp off once, and then go to the flower. So what I tried to do is match the ones that were third generational with the second generational, and then the fourth generational with the third generational. So I was able to do 2 flowers at a time. I hope that makes sense. But you can see here how it's just a slightly different darker when I'm stamping over these flower bases. I hope this is making sense, and definitely by looking at my stamping, you can tell exactly what I'm talking about. Now, the problem is when I was stamping those bases, I was moving the stamp around so they weren't like exactly the same. So I had to guess a little bit on the placement, but it's actually really simple, so no big deal. Now, I'm only doing the generational stamping for the red because when I do the leaves in green, I do actually have lighter, darker greens. Same with the other flowers that I'm putting on this. But for the red, I only have the one red stamp or ink pad, and so I did have to do the generational stamping. Now you can look at these really closely, and some of them are like amazing, you can see there, and some of them are a little bit more blotchy, but you know what, it all works because first of all the color is beautiful, and you do know that it's a rose, so it all works out. And I'm going to quickly go through these. So this is a small yellow flower that I decided, and now there's a top layer that are showing more of the lines, and I'm just lining them up the best that I can. I'm going to do this for these little tiny yellow flowers. I'm also going to do some greens for the leaves, and then there's going to be a purple flower later. So you could just kind of watch me do it. It's basically just following the stamps. I'm using the lighter color for the base stamp and then the darker one for the detailed stamp. Excuse me. But you can literally do anything you want with these. I mean, I could have started with a darker and then a lighter on top, but I don't think it would have showed up as well. So it's always good to do the lighter first, in my opinion. So anyhow, I'm just going to go all through this sheet. I really don't have any rhyme or reason. I'm not even sure why I didn't fill this sheet up completely. I think in my mind, have you ever done the stamps where you just do kind of like an X in the middle of your paper? Or I don't know if it's X or a cross sign, plus sign, whatever. And then you cut it in 4s, and then that's technically 4 different cards. Well, this piece that I'm using is actually a scrap piece of white paper, so it's not even a full 8.5 by 11. So I don't know why I thought that was going to work because it's not even the right size, but that was my thinking, and that's okay because it all worked out at the end. So once I start doing all of these stampings, then you can really see it filling out. I love the way that purple flower is looking. And the thing that's nice is the stamp set is it has that base, and then it has the details like I mentioned, and then they have these little is it the stamen, or I'm not even sure the right word, but the little very fine detail in the middle of these stamps. So like the little yellow one has it, and then even this dark purple one. So here's where I'm trying to think, okay, now where am I going to cut this up where it's going to be the best place or best rose placements? So I'm just kind of fiddling around and just going up and down and trying to decide where it's going to work. And because this sheet, so I'm making an A2 card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm doing this panel at 4 and 5 1/4, just so I have a little bit of border around when I put it on the card base. So it doesn't really cut perfectly. So I have those 2 ones that I wanted, the 4 by 5 1/4, And then I have some little extra ones. Now, once this is all cut up, I'm looking at it thinking, okay, obviously I need something more because there's a lot of white space. So I'm just going to put a little bit of black splatter here and there. And I'm just trying to do as small as possible. And then I'm going to use some black ink. And I'm using this stamp that I've had forever. Actually, it was a gift. And the owner's name was Rubber Paws. And if you want to read more about her, you can check my blog. But anyhow, so I did that, and I love the way that looks. Kind of gives it a little romantic look, in my opinion, just because it's not, I don't even know what language it is, or if it's even words. It could just be random letters, because that works as well. But I just love the way that looks. So what I decided to do is I'm using those smaller pieces of the leftover roses or the paper that I stamped, and I'm cutting them down, and that's what I did there. I fussy cut them. It was really super simple to fussy cut because it was really just like a little bit of a rounded circle, right? And then I thought, you know what? I need to fill it up more, and I knew I was only going to make the one card, so I cut off from all the different panels that I originally stamped on. So just to give me some really nice looking flowers. And so I can fill out this card. And I'm just using some liquid adhesive to add them here and there. And I am going to put this one, the focal one, on foam tape. So it raises up just a little bit. But look at how cute that looks already. I'm really excited about it. It's working out cute. So when I mentioned that it's National Red Rose Day, that is something that I do on Instagram. So if you're interested in following all the other flowers or the other cards for the day, check out my blog. And also, I think I have my Instagram listed in the information box. So all the information will be there. Excuse me. So you can hop around and see that. I'm in a group called National Holidays Hops. And so the person that hosts it, she lists a bunch of kind of random holidays throughout the month, and then we can or cannot, it depends on if we want to join or not, those different holidays. And then people post, obviously you know what a hop is. So anyhow, that's a lot of fun. So if you're interested in that, definitely check out my Instagram account. But thank you so much for being interested, and if you have any questions or comments about this card, let me know. I did decide to use a red base for this card just because we're all about red for this card, and I think it really looked well. So you saw me die cut a square frame around it, and I wanted to do that because it gives that little faux stitching around it, and I think it just adds a little extra. So I was going to originally just put it straight on the card, and then I was like, ooh, it needed something else. So I thought, okay, I'm going to mat it in white, and then you're going to see in just a minute that I don't even end up using white, and that's okay too, because I love that about card making. You start off one way, or at least I do. You start off one way, and then it just takes its own direction, and it just comes out to be something you didn't even imagine in the first place. It's so silly, but it's so perfect too. So I did cut that one, the stamped piece, down to 3 1/4 by 5, and that's the reason why I'm able to cut the mat at 4 by 5 1/4, which is what I had originally cut it at. But there you go. You see how I'm looking at the going, the white kind of gets lost in there, and so that's when I grabbed this black. Now this is kind of like it's called chalkboard, so it's not a really dark, intense black. It's almost like a muted black without it being gray, if that makes any sense. But I had this in my stash for years, and so it was really nice to be able to use it. And the funny thing is I used it for a completely different layout, and I just happened to have the scraps on my desk. I guess that's why we leave scraps on our desk, right? Because it just adds to our variations or our availability on different items that we might not have thought about if it wasn't right there on our desk, right? So I'm just using a clear and also a red glitter pens to add some sparkle here and there because, we need some sparkle. And then, of course, after I do that, I'm thinking, oh, why didn't I stamp that sentiment first? So I grabbed one that I thought would work. I'm using this as a wedding card. And I ended up bringing my Misty out because I did not want to go through all this work making this beautiful card and then my stamping turned out terrible. So that was super easy. And actually, I probably didn't even need to use the Misty because it worked out pretty good. And it just says congratulations on your wedding day or something to that effect. But anyhow, I think it just turned out really good. And then I thought, oh, maybe it needs a little, extra. So I added those little twirlies, if you, whatever you want to call them, and that to me looks so cute, and it did need it. But that's about it, folks. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I do try to post at least 2 videos a week, so definitely check those out. I also have lots of different playlists if you're interested in different types of projects, because I feel like I have them all. But thank you again for watching. I truly appreciate it. Bye.